what is love? Love is our greatest commandment and our highest priority. This is love. Love is giving honor where honor is due. Love is choosing to believe the best in others. Love is catching people doing things right. This is love. Love is staying awake when you'd rather be asleep, serving when you'd rather be served, and listening when you'd rather be heard. This is love. Sometimes love is rejoicing with those who rejoice. Sometimes love is mourning with those who mourn. Love is showing up, speaking up, and standing up for others. Love is helping someone who can never pay you back, keeping a promise even when it hurts. Love is beautiful and love is powerful. This is love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love never fails. Greater love has no one than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. This is love. Not that we loved God, but that He loved us and sent His Son as a sacrifice for us. This is love.
So we're starting a new series tonight, and it's all about dating and relationships. And I know because when I was in middle school and high school and my youth minister said, we're going to start a new series about dating and relationships, I was like, But hang with me. Don't zone out. I am going to make this not super awkward. It's going to be very general. It's going to relate to whether you are currently in a dating relationship, whether you are interested in being in a dating relationship, or whether you are not the slightest bit interested at all. And I know it sounds weird that something would relate to all of those things, but it will, trust me. So hang with me this month because we are going to jump into this. February is upon us, and everywhere you look, there are like hearts and roses and pinks and reds and teddy bears everywhere. And so there's no way of getting around this idea that Valentine's Day is coming up, and there's romance, and there's dating, and you guys in middle school and high school, this is something that you guys experience. You experience the dating world, being interested in the opposite sex and wanting to get to know somebody a little bit better. And so this month we are going to just look at some overarching guidelines that I think are just vitally important to having a healthy dating life. These are 3 guidelines that we're going to talk about, one each week, that I think are just super, super important for us to look at. And so here they are. 1, know what you want. Know what you want. 2, guard your heart. And 3, be patient as you wait for the right person. Know what you want is the first one, and that's the one that we are going to talk about tonight. And so I have one question for you tonight that is kind of the big question of the night. What type of person do you want to date? Now, as I ask that question, let me take one thing and take it out of the equation. Physical attributes, we're going to just set those aside for a moment. What type of person do you want to date? Now, if you had asked me that when I was in 6th grade, I would have stared at you with this blank stare like, because when I was in 6th grade, I suddenly became interested in girls. And if you had asked me, what do you want in the type of person that you want to date, what type of person you want to date, my answer would have been, a cute girl that's interested in me. And if a girl was interested in me, she was probably a little bit cute in my mind because there were not a lot of girls that were interested in me. And so what would happen when I was in 6th grade, with this being the only criteria for the type of person that I was interested in dating, was that little 6th grade CJ would walk up to, no, take that back, hold on. We are taking this one step way too far. Little sixth grade CJ would never walk up to a girl and talk to her because little sixth grade CJ, all the way into his mid-20s CJ, was not good at talking to girls. So little sixth grade CJ would not walk up to a girl that he thought was cute. He would slide a note in her locker or on her desk and say, "Will you go out with me?" And when little sixth grade CJ would inevitably get turned down, little sixth grade CJ would be like, okay. And then little sixth grade CJ would go on to find the next girl that he thought was cute and would ask her out. Now, as you can imagine, this was not a super healthy way to approach the opposite sex in dating, and it was not a super effective way to approach the opposite sex in dating. My only criteria, the only type of person that I was interested in dating, was someone that I thought was cute. And there is an entire world of criteria that I was just ignoring and leaving out. If I thought a girl was cute, well, that was good enough for me. So what type of person are you interested in dating? Tonight, I want to challenge you to do one thing. Maybe you are not the slightest bit interested in dating. That's totally okay. Maybe you are currently dating. That's totally okay. Tonight, what I want to challenge you to do is to give this more thought than I did when I was in the sixth grade. I was never challenged as a middle school student, or necessarily as a high school student so much, a little bit more in high school. I was not challenged to think deeply about the type of person I wanted to date. And I want to encourage you to think a little bit more deeply about the type of person that you are interested in dating. What type of person are you interested in dating? In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, Paul gives this extremely famous set of scriptures that I imagine a lot of you have heard. If you have been to a wedding, then you have probably heard this verse at some point. And it says this: love is patient, love is kind. It isn't jealous, it doesn't brag, it isn't arrogant, it isn't rude. It doesn't seek its own advantage, it isn't irritable, it doesn't keep a record of complaints, it isn't happy with injustice, but is happy with the truth. Love puts up with all things, trusts in all things, hopes for all things, endures all things. Love never fails. Paul begins to give this list of things that love is and things that love is not. And as I look through that list, there are a lot of things on that list that are exponentially more important than me thinking a girl was cute. And maybe you're looking at that list and this is one of the first times that you have really thought deeply about the type of person that you are interested in dating. Do you want someone that is kind? Do you want someone that is humble? Do you want someone that puts others first, that isn't all about themselves? How do you want someone to treat you in a dating relationship? And so I want to encourage you to begin to think a little bit more deeply. As I traveled through middle school and high school, I started to create this list in my mind of the type of person that I would be interested in dating. And a crazy thing happened when I started to add more criteria to the type of person I was interested in dating. I didn't ask out nearly as many people because I had this type of person that I was interested in. And this list really helped with that. And so I started adding things to this list, like I want a girl that is loving to everyone around. I want a girl that is patient. I want a girl that is humble. I want a girl that I feel like will be a great mom someday. I want a girl that has an incredible relationship with Jesus and she is going to help me grow in my own personal relationship with Jesus. And I started adding these things to the list. Do you have a list? Do you have some criteria that as you walk the hallways of your school, let's be honest, you walk the hallways of your school and there's always this thought in the back of your mind like, maybe the person that I am going to start dating or be with or marry is walking these halls. Do you have a list of criteria that you're thinking, all right, like when I think about who I want to date, when I think about my future marriage and my married life, like what are some things that I want this person to be and how do I want them to treat the people around them and how do I want them to treat me and what are some attributes that I want them to have? The question, what type of person do you want to date, is so important that we begin to think deeply about it and we begin to answer that question for ourselves. A follow-up question to that, though, is this. How do you find some answers to that question? What type of person do you want to date? Yes, maybe you can come up with a list in your own head, but I think there are some effective ways that we can begin to actively seek out answers to that question that will help us in our dating world and in our dating lives. In 2007, Kirsten and I were about to get married. It was awesome, incredible. I had found this woman that far exceeded everything that I had ever dreamt of and hoped for, and all my expectations. She blew me away, and I was looking for this wedding gift to get her. And I knew that she really wanted a puppy. And so she had done some research. We were living in college at the time. She was an RA of the girls' dormitory. I was an RA of the boys' dormitory, which basically meant that we were like in charge of an entire floor of college students. And then we had adults that were kind of over us, that were kind of our bosses. Well, her adults had a little dog that was a Shih Tzu puppy. And she had done some research. She knew she wanted a puppy, and she had done some research on these types of puppies, and she had some criteria for the puppy that she wanted. She knew that she wanted a dog that didn't shed. Shih Tzus don't shed. Check. She knew she wanted a dog that she could cuddle with, and Shih Tzus are tiny. She knew she wanted a tiny dog, and so a tiny dog that would crawl up in her lap and would cuddle with her. Check. And then being around this dog, she knew that these dogs were just adorable and they had these squished little faces, and she knew she wanted a dog with a squished little face, and those were all super reasons to get this type of dog. One of the best ways that you can begin to think about the type of person that you want to date is similar to the way that Kirsten thought about the type of dog that she wanted. You can do some research. Now, you can begin to look at verses like 1 Corinthians and think, okay, love is patient. Do I want someone that's patient? Yeah, that's probably a pretty good thing. Love is kind. Do I want someone that's kind? Yeah, that's probably a good personality type. I probably want someone that's kind. You can begin to look at these verses of what love is and what love isn't and begin to create your own list in your head. You can do some research. You can also do some research by simply observing the relationships that are around you. You know, one of the things that convinced Kirsten more than anything to get a Shih Tzu dog, it was that she was around this little Shih Tzu puppy, and she just fell in love with it. You guys are around people in relationships all the time. And I think a lot of times, I know for myself in middle school and high school, I did not do this, and it would have been hugely helpful if I had. We need to begin to look at the relationships that are around us. You guys need to look at your parents' relationships, your grandparents' relationships, your aunts and uncles' relationships. You need to begin to look at people that are like 15, 20 years in the future and just be brutally honest with yourself. Now, I don't suggest walking up to your parents and being like, all right, mom and dad, let's sit down and talk, because here's the things you guys are awesome at in your relationship. I want those things in my life. Here's the things you guys totally suck at in a relationship. Don't say that. But in your mind, you guys, no relationship is perfect. You can begin to look at your parents, your grandparents, your aunts and uncles, and you can say, all right, here's some things that are just incredible about their relationship, some things that they do really, really well. I want this in my future. And you can also begin to look and you can say, here's some things that they could do a little bit better. These are some things that I want to do differently in my own relationship. And through this research, you can begin to set up criteria. Another great way to do some research for the type of person you want to date is to look at your friendships and the people that are dating around you. What things are they doing well that is a part of their relationship? What attributes do you see? And what attributes do you see that are not going so well? And then you just begin to create this list. You begin to create this list about some things that you want and things that you don't want and the type of person that you want to date. It's so important that we know what we want in a dating relationship. And the first way you can do that is to do some research. The second way you can do that is to learn from experience. I knew Kirsten wanted a puppy, so you know what I did? About a month before our wedding, I went out and I bought Kirsten a little cute brown Shih Tzu puppy. I think I have a picture. There he is. This is Moose. And Moose was my wedding gift to Kirsten, and he was awesome. He's absolutely incredible. He passed away a couple years ago. And then Moose was so awesome and incredible that on our 1-year anniversary, we went and we got Trip, and he was absolutely awesome and incredible. And so we had these little Shih Tzus, and Trip passed away a year ago. But along the way, we realized Shih Tzus are awesome. But there are some things about Shih Tzus that we didn't quite realize we wouldn't be such huge fans of. For example, we knew that Shih Tzus don't shed. That's awesome. The thing about that is you have to get them haircuts on a very regular basis. That is not so awesome, especially when you are a newly married couple and your finances are super tight and now you're paying for dog haircuts. Another thing that tends to happen is that even when you are keeping their hair cut, the way their faces kind of smush together, you can kind of see it right here actually, their hair grows into their eyes. So even in between haircuts, if you don't trim that hair out of their eyes start to get gunky and infected, and it's just not good for the dog. So imagine you've got this dog, and one of you is holding it, and one of you is taking a very sharp, pointy pair of hair-cutting scissors, and you are trying to cut the hair right here next to their eye. And they're like jerking away, and you're trying not to like poke them in the eye and call the vet and be like, yeah, just shove scissors into my dog's eye. Very not a great thing. Another thing, and this is probably the worst thing that we were completely caught off guard by, completely unaware of. Shih Tzus are known to have problems with anal gland leakage. I will let you guys kind of formulate in your own minds what anal gland leakage is, but it reeks. It is awful. And all of a sudden you start to smell this thing that, just leave it at that. So here's the thing, is that right now our Shih Tzus have passed away. They were awesome. They were incredible. We were heartbroken when they died. And we have one other dog that we just got from a shelter. But inevitably, when we go to get another puppy, there are some things we are going to take into account when we get another puppy. We're going to do a little bit of research about some things like haircuts or hair growing in their eyes for infection or anal gland leakage. And we are going to take some serious put some serious thought into the type of dog we want to get in the future. You guys, as you go through this dating world, this life called dating, inevitably, you are going to go through some relationships where you go out for a bit and then you break up. And here's the thing that I see time and time again that completely breaks my heart, is that people, not only teens, adults as well that are dating, don't learn from experience. They go out with someone, they break up with that person for whatever reason, and then the very next person they go out with is the exact same person that they just broke up with. We have an opportunity to learn from experience. As you guys go through this dating life, you have an opportunity to learn from your relationships. You are going to date some people, and you are going to find some things about those people that are sorry, I'm going to turn this on silent. I'm getting a whole lot of text all of a sudden. You are going to find some people that are absolutely incredible in certain areas. You are also going to find some things about those same people that you are not a huge fan of. You can learn from that. You can not repeat the same mistakes. You can find someone that is different and better and learn from experience. And you can improve in your next relationship. All right, I'm going to tell you something that is not super flattering about me. Kirsten has told me, she's very open, she's honest, she's fine if I share this with you, that when she met me, I was not the type of person that she was interested in. Not attracted to me. Not that type of person. But there was something about me that she saw, because she had gone through some other relationships. She saw some things that were like, this guy might be worth dating. And I'm so thankful that she saw that and that she stuck with me, even though, guys, if she had followed her intuition and followed the same patterns that she had followed before, she wouldn't have given me a second thought. She would have just been like, there's a short little guy over there. But she learned, she improved, and I reaped the benefits of that. What type of person do you want to date? It's so important that we begin to ask ourselves that question. And then you begin to create this list. And I brought some papers with me tonight, and you'll use these in your small group time tonight. But I encourage you to create a physical list. Write it down. Put it in your phones. Use this piece of paper. Keep a diary, journal, notebook, whatever you want to do. But I encourage you to create a physical list of the type of person that you want to date. Now, what we do with this list, we're going to talk about that next week when we talk about the next step in dating and guarding our hearts. But I want to encourage you guys this week, begin to create a list. Begin to really think, what type of person do I want to date? How can I learn about the type of person that I want to date? What research can I do? What can I learn from previous experiences? And you begin to create this list. You begin to write it down. You begin to have it in front of you, and you put it somewhere where you can refer to it. You can add to it. You can take away from it. Because, guys, this list, what you write on this list in middle school, you will definitely add to and take away from that as you travel through high school. And I can almost guarantee you will add to and take away from that as you travel through college. But it's so important, whether you are interested in dating right now or whether it's the furthest thing from your mind, that you at least begin to think, what type of person do I want to marry someday? What type of person do I want to date? What type of person do I want to let into my life? And so my practical challenge to you guys this week, and again, we're going to use these during small group, is I don't care if you use this piece of paper. It's got some questions on it to jumpstart your mind. I don't care if you use this piece of paper, you use your phone, you use a diary, you use a notebook, you do whatever. But I want to encourage you to start a physical list this week. If you want to take a next step, start a physical list this week. What type of person do you want to date? Paul gives some great examples in 1 Corinthians. Love is patient. Love is kind. It is not arrogant. It is not self-seeking. It is not rude. Love always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. And as we, as leaders in this ministry, think about your future, that's what we want you to experience. In a marriage relationship, we want you to experience this abundant, incredible love that you, through the good times and the bad times, it never fails. And so I want you to start now, begin thinking, what type of person do I want to date? Let me pray for you guys. God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this thing called dating, where